Well, hey everyone, welcome back to Get Your Geek On. I'm Robert, that's Aaron. We've got Frank behind the camera. He's going to be chiming in as well as we review The Mandalorian. We're going to be talking about the first episode of Season 2, which is it's called Chapter 9, The Marshal. So we're going to get into that. We're going to be reviewing The Mandalorian week by week.
With spoilers, too.
With spoilers, yes. So spoiler warning right here. We are going to be talking about it. We're going to assume that you've seen the episode, so we're not going to really recap it. No. We're just going to discuss our thoughts about the episode. So with that being said, who wants to go first?
My one little random thing.
Sure.
I'm still loving Mandalorian. I've said several times, I'm not the biggest Star Wars fan. Mm-hmm. I don't like the Skywalker stuff. I've even recently, the more recent stuff, I guess I'll say.
Yeah.
But I really, really am enjoying Mandalorian. Mm-hmm. So I'm really liking it.
Yeah.
But I think I'm going to start backwards and start from the end.
Okay.
Was that Boba? Or was it a clone? Because he played both, right?
Correct. Actor? Tamara Morrison is the actor that he played Jango Fett, was his primary role in Attack of the Clones, and then of course he was the template for all of the clones, and so continued playing all the clones, and then he did have his son, which was actually, it was another clone, but he didn't have the accelerated growth rate, so the other clones, I think in 10 years, they were 25 years old. Right. Whereas, he just grew at the normal human aging. He didn't have any sort of, I think the other clones had a compliance kind of coded into their genetics so that they would follow orders. He did not have that. No, I mean, it was just any orders. Yeah. Order 66 is what you're.
Yeah. I was like, I know there's 2 6s in there.
Yeah.
A 616 is Marvel.
But so Tamara Morrison has never played Boba Fett in live action. Okay. But when they did a remaster of the movies for the Blu-ray release, they actually did dub over the old actor that played Boba Fett's lines with Tamara Morrison. So if you get those Blu-ray versions of Empire Strikes Back or Return of the Jedi now, you will hear Tamara Morrison's voice as Boba Fett. How
many times do they redub these movies?
George Lucas did it 17 times. Okay. But he's not in control of it anymore. So we just want one more, and we want you to do the original. That's what we want, Disney. But anyways, so he's never really played Boba Fett in live action before. They have not confirmed which one he is playing in this series, but I think it is very clear he is playing Boba Fett. I think there's no, I would be shocked if he was playing someone other than Boba Fett.
Rex or whatever from Rebels.
Yeah, I mean, Rex is the main one that people expect to see. He's been in other things like Rebels, and he had a pretty prominent arc in that. So we've seen old Rex. And this is going to sound weird to say because it's the templates based off the actor. That does not look like old Rex. And so
because Rex does have scars on him.
Well, and he's got a beard and he's got a scar on his head from when he had his surgery to have the Order 66 chip removed. And so, I think it's very clear that he is playing Boba Fett, even though they haven't explicitly stated that.
Okay, because that's my only thing is because I knew he played, or he was a clone, so I was like, well, it could be the clone troopers, it could be Boba, it could be anyone. Like I was telling Frank before you got here, there's people who are saying it is Boba, and then there's other people who I think, and again, I'm going to kind of attack some Star Wars fans probably right here when I say this because you're stupid. They're saying that Boba should be 41 roughly, and the actor who plays
is 59. 50.
Who cares? We can't stop people from aging, so we just make them look different.
And beyond that, okay, so he would be 41, but how much time did he spend in a Sarlacc pit? Mm-hmm. And, we don't know what that does to your aging curve. We don't know what that, and that's the thing. I thought it was really interesting. So I really enjoyed this episode.
Oh, yeah.
I think that in the first season, there was a lot of hit or miss for me with the episodes and a lot of the, kind of monster of the week. We don't, it's just we're doing a little mini adventure and it's its own episode, but it didn't feel like it was moving the story forward. this episode, even though it was, again, an adventure of the week kind of thing, and I don't know how many of these characters we're going to see next time, Mandalorian comes on. I don't know if we're going to get Timothy Oliphant again later in the season. I would expect we'll get him at least one more time.
Probably.
We'll get Cobb Vanth, but we might not. And even if we don't, this at least was moving the story forward, and so I enjoyed it. But what I thought was super interesting is just a dropped line that they mentioned about this crate dragon, and he's living in this old abandoned Sarlacc pits, and you get, Cobb Vanth says there are no abandoned Sarlacc pits, and you get there is if they get eaten, and so it's just kind of like, I think we're gonna find out how Boba Fett got out of the Sarlacc pit, but maybe he was in there and then a crate dragon ate the Sarlacc pit and then he escaped the crate dragon. We don't really know how he got out of the Sarlacc pit. I think we're gonna find out because I do think that is Boba Fett. Obviously the armor got out because that's the armor that Cobb Vanth is wearing, and that's the armor that the Mandalorian has by the end of the episode. So I think that, it was really interesting to get that. The crate dragon, actually, this is, again, it's just cool stuff. It's been around since A New Hope.
I would say there's C-3PO right behind
C-3PO is walking, when he's walking in the desert early in the movie, there's the bones of a crate dragon are there. Mm-hmm. Obi-Wan Kenobi, when he encounters Luke being attacked by the Sand People, he makes that noise and they run off, and he says, the Sand People are easily frightened, but they'll soon be back and in greater numbers. That's like his famous line. Well, the noise he makes is the noise of a crate dragon to scare the Sand People away. So again, it's been there without being there for 40 years.
And now
we've seen a crate dragon, which is, it's just cool. It's cool stuff.
I thought it was really cool. I actually, again, like this episode. I agree with you. A lot of, now we're trying to figure out, where do we take Baby Yoda? Again, I know it's his name, but he's
the child.
Whatever.
Right.
Baby Yoda.
I'm going to call him Baby Yoda too. Add us in the comments if you want. We know he's called the child.
Yeah. But I just bought a calendar and it has him on there. It says the child. And I was like, it's Baby Yoda. I was going to scratch that for Baby Yoda.
Baby Yoda.
But okay, so I like that we're now, I think how you said in the first one, we kind of had hit or miss because it's like, what do we do with this thing kind of thing? And now we have more of a direct path. Okay, I'm going to find his people.
Yeah, he's on a mission.
So I like that. This is just part of the mission. It happened to be a side mission. And let's face it, we all play Oblivion and Morrowind and all that. The side mission, I got a side quest. Let me go do that side quest real quick. Yeah. But it's still, like you say, it's still moving us forward. Now he has Boba Fett's armor. Now we have this mysterious character who's probably Boba Fett, like you said, knowing that, okay, he has it. Is he still a bounty hunter? Because there's still money out for Baby Yoda. So is he looking for Baby Yoda?
And one of the things that is a major character trait of Boba Fett is that he hates Jedi. Now, part of that is because his dad, in his mind, was murdered by a Jedi.
Because Obi-Wan kills him, right?
No, Mace Windu. Mace Windu cuts his head off. Okay. So, and then there's stories with him in the Clone Wars where he just... Boba Fett hates Jedi. We see that even just very briefly in Return of the Jedi, his interaction with Luke, he's not a fan. And so, it'll be really interesting to see, again, there are rumors that we're going to get Ahsoka Tano in this show.
That's Anakin's Padawan, right?
Anakin's Padawan, who is no longer part of the Jedi Order, so technically not a Jedi, so all of those things. Gray Jedis don't technically exist in canon. That's part of Legends.
Oh, okay.
All kinds of weird, wonky Star Wars stuff. But she is a Force user who is neither a Jedi nor a Sith. Okay. That is how we can explain it. The same as the child. Baby Yoda is a Force user. He's obviously not a Jedi or a Sith. Yeah. He's just a Force user. Yeah. And so we don't know if if that's going to play into it, if, Boba Fett's going to cross paths with her, maybe he, is going to try and kill her because he hates Jedi. Maybe he wants to kill Baby Yoda because he's a Force user. There's a lot of theories out there, and I don't want to dive into all of them. But one of the ones that I'm excited, but also I don't know if I want them to do that, is Grand Admiral Thrawn is kind of a famous character in Star Wars. He was originally introduced by Timothy Zahn in novels back, I think, in the 1980s, 80s and 90s, I think, is when those novels came out. And then he was reintroduced when Disney acquired Star Wars. They said all that stuff is legends, and so they might pull from it, or some of it might still be true, but everything from here on out is canon. This is official.
Anything that Disney does.
Correct.
Basically.
Whether it's comics, books, TV shows, movies, anything like that. The old stuff, the only stuff that was officially canon was the movies, right? And so now... they have reintroduced Grand Admiral Thrawn. Timothy Zahn actually came back and wrote another, I think, 2 books so far about that character. Once again, they've changed some stuff. And then he also was a character in Star Wars Rebels. He became kind of a major villain in that show over the final, I think, season, maybe 2 seasons. And he ended up in, basically the unknown regions at the end of that show. So they didn't kill him off. He's out there.
He's out
and
the unknown.
So in other pieces of lore, people that have been looking to navigate the unknown regions, and basically, the reason that they're the unknown regions is no one's mapped them. So think of Magellan or all that stuff. And so when they use hyperspace, they don't know, they might run into something, right? Okay. And so they have to just travel at normal speed, which means you can't really get to all the places you want to get to in space. And so what they have done is to navigate those regions, they have actually abducted force-sensitive children and used them almost like Anakin was a pod racer, where it's like they can anticipate things before they happen. And so, we're going to get Ahsoka and... she was out in the unknown regions. Maybe we're going to get Grand Admiral Thrawn. Maybe that's why in the first season they wanted the child, is because they want to be able to navigate, unknown space and maybe find the Emperor, or we don't know, because apparently he's out there at this point too.
Because this is before the final movies, right?
Correct. Yeah, this takes place shortly after Return of the Jedi. So there's just a lot of I don't know if I want them to go down that road, but there's a lot of potential to bring in some of those characters. There was some really cool stuff with the Sand People. We haven't spent a lot of time with them, and mostly they've been portrayed as villainous. There's that moment. Yeah, I mean they're bad guys. They're raiders. That's what they do. And the only time we've ever seen them portrayed in a somewhat sympathetic light is after Anakin slaughters an entire village of them and then cries about it. That movie's terrible. Attack of the Clones. Don't watch it. But
someone doesn't like it.
No, that's my least favorite Star Wars movie, and that's saying something, because I really didn't like Episode 9. But anyways, at the end of the day, it was interesting to get more with them. I thought Timothy Oliphant was an interesting character. Again, something they've pulled from the books. Cobb Vanth is a character in a novel called Aftermath. So they have, again, changed a few things about his origin, but it's mostly the same character. And I thought he was, a very effective kind of character, and the introduction of him was really interesting, where he just, immediately takes off the helmet, and you could see Mando's like, what the heck is going on? Out. And so I thought that was good.
It was really good. I liked a lot of the Easter eggs, like you said, though, that you get the skeleton. Again, people like me who don't know it, but then I saw a picture. Someone's like, oh, look, it's from this scene, and C-3PO is walking through a desert. I'm like, oh, that's cool that you tied that. Mm-hmm. I do like that we see the armor of Boba Fett. We see the characters. I do like that they brought the girl back that he docked with before at the docking base.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
That they brought her back. And I kind of like that now Mando is kind of a little more accepting of the robots. Not entirely.
The droids, yeah. You can see after the events of season 1 where, the
robot
IG-11,
the robot he killed,
that sacrificed himself. Yes, definitely. That had an impact on him.
Exactly, and I like that they touched
that's
it.
Cool. Yeah,
I mean, because they could have literally just never changed the character, and he could have still been like, "Nah, I freaking hate these guys."
Yeah,
but I did like it.
He's a little bit more open.
Yeah, and I don't like their comedy still because they still feel like Three Stooges to me.
Yeah, and it feels like we're a little bit stuck with that because that's what they were introduced to us as in episode 1, and we've just kind of gone with that. But yeah, I that's a little bit. That's the type of humor in Star Wars that I don't really care for. There is good humor in Star Wars. Like again, that scene where Mandalorian and Cobb Vanth meet for the first time. There's humor in that scene as much as it's tense. It's also funny.
Because he stops and he kind of like.
Yeah, there's
like
that
pull back
like what do you well, even when he like orders the drinks, you can see Mandalorian is like, but how are we gonna drink it? Because we're not gonna take our helmets off. Like, it's right. You can see the confusion even though he's just wearing a mask.
Yeah. And I did like, talking about that scene real quick because I'm going to say Tim because I can not pronounce his full name right.
Oliphant. Yeah.
Is known for some of his Western kind of stuff.
Yeah. I mean, Justified. Sure.
I love we get that typical Western shot where it's like, who's going to draw first? Yeah. The hands on the hip, ready to pull the gun. And I'm like, this feels like I'm watching almost a spaghetti Western. Yeah. And I like...
We need like the tumbleweed.
Yeah, like I was kind of waiting for that too. Like, where's the tumbleweed? Or where's like somebody that's going to run by?
Originally, that's what he based it on, right? The cantina scene and like Mos Eisley is like Western frontier town.
Yeah, I mean, Star Wars is fantasy sci-fi Western. That's what it is.
I think that's maybe why I like it more because I love like Firefly. Firefly is a sci-fi Western. Mm-hmm. Let's face it. And I love the angles. I love the shots. I loved how it looked. And I got that Western feel again of this, like Firefly almost. And maybe that's why I like this so much. But I did like whenever you hear the Earth thing, he's like, just hold on. Just like, we're about to like kill each other and you're going to tell me to hold on.
Hold on a second. There's something bigger happening.
Yeah. Like, and I like that Mando just kind of goes with it too. He's just like, okay.
Yeah.
Like,
well, I mean, he's not worried because he knows like if it comes down to it, yeah. But I did like that. So one of the things that also stood out to me is this is actually the first episode that Jon Favreau directed of the series.
Really?
He did not direct any of the episodes in season 1, and so.
Ask you, do you think this season will be like like last season that you were saying that there was not really any direction on the stories because they were different directors?
Well, there still are going to be different directors.
Do you think that they've learned that maybe we should follow?
Yeah. Well, so this is what I think is that in the first season there was a lot of setup episodes. Like I mean, there were 6 setup episodes, and some of them were setting up events directly that were coming in episodes 7 and 8, and I think some of them are setting up things that we haven't seen yet. So like the prison break episode hasn't been paid off yet. No. But when I say yet, I do think that they're going to pay off those characters and those things that happened in that episode.
Didn't those characters die though?
Well, some of them did, but not all of them because he abandoned some of them like in the prison. Like he left some of them there, and then the ones that he brought back
blew it up.
They blew up the place that he got back to. So they blew up the guy that hired him and the guy that he broke out. But all of the rest of the people that he had come with are stuck there because he basically left them. Okay. And so again, I think they're going to pay that off. I do think that as we move forward, this season is going to be a little bit more streamlined because now he's got a mission. Like in the first season, it was kind of thrust upon him and he really hadn't a lot of it was making a choice. What am I going to do now that I've been presented with this scenario?
But as you said, was its own story.
Yeah.
Like, where are you
going with this? And I also think like if we're looking at like almost D&D, the first season was almost like your first 10 levels. Like you're not a badass when you first start a D&D campaign. When you're level 1,
have you seen him in the prison break episode?
You know what I mean. But anything that like a video games even, you start off as level 1 essentially. You're not the badass really. Like even Master Chief, you're good, but you're not number 1 yet. And he's still getting his armor technically too in the first season. Mm-hmm. He doesn't even have the jetpack. He doesn't get that till the very end.
Which we have to talk about the scene where they both use their jetpacks. It was awesome.
I loved
They're flying up to fight the crate dragon. And it was like when it first showed up, up in the mountain. I was like, why is it coming out up there? And then as soon as they fly up, I'm like, oh, they wanted to show off that they both have jetpacks. They wanted to fly up there. Yeah.
Why is he?
I love that they finally showed off.
The missile, the Boba Fett missile, and the little targeting system.
Now, Mando doesn't have that missile, does he?
He has something, it looks like, but I don't know if it's which brings up another point. Like, where do you get another missile?
I was thinking that the whole time too.
It's like he launched it, and it's like, where did he get another one?
I was thinking that too because I'm like, well, it's not yours, so you don't know where to go to buy refills.
It's like antique Mandalorian,
right? Guys, I need this old antique Mandalorian missile from like 100 years ago.
Hey, it's all good.
But yeah, like, so I think like season 1, he's getting all his gear.
Yeah.
And now he's already the badass. Like he's already shown that.
That opening scene is great. And we saw it in the trailers, but it's still funny as Baby Yoda's just like, and I'm gonna close up and us. You
pissed off Daddy?
I know what's about to happen, and I'm gonna just make sure I'm okay.
So speaking of that too, what were those creatures in the shadows that are gonna essentially tear him apart?
We don't know.
Okay.
I mean that's we don't know where we were, so they didn't tell us what planet we were on, so we can't really say what creatures they were.
Because I was saying, I know Gears of War.
That was John Leguizamo, right?
John Leguizamo was the guy that played the character. Yes, that he was talking to. Luigi.
Who's the actor?
Luigi. From the Super Mario Brothers movie. Yes.
So
I'm excited for what this episode showed us. I'm excited for where this season is going. Getting, the reveal at the end of, again, who I'm almost 100% positive is Boba Fett.
Yeah.
I'm really looking forward to that. And they did the same thing in season 1 where, we didn't get the child until the end of season episode 1. That was the first time we got introduced to the child. So now we're getting Boba Fett introduced to us at the end of episode 1. I'm really curious to see how big of a role he's going to play in this series.
I'm excited. I really am. I think, like you said, we have our mission. We have now antagonists building up all around us because we have, like you said, the guys from the prison. We have the guy from the end of episode 8.
Yep, Moff Gideon.
And now we have possibly Boba Fett.
Yep.
So now he has at least 3 groups or 3 people out there waiting to kill him.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, it's always... and I'm going to agree with Frank here. Like, I kind of... Boba Fett's been this lionized character. It's like, Boba Fett's the coolest. And it's like, no, Boba Fett's got the coolest armor. Boba Fett kind of sucks.
I mean, he died in like 30 minutes of seeing him, didn't he?
Well, like...
I think they'll ruin it for a lot of people. Like, if you try to make him Boba Fett and it turns out to be like cheesy or...
Well, if you're worried about Star Wars ruining Boba Fett, don't watch Attack of the Clones, and also don't watch the Clone Wars episodes with Boba Fett, because that's the thing is to me they've already ruined Boba Fett, so maybe this is his redemption chance, because in the original trilogy he looks super cool, but he's also he's not that good at his job. Like, he does a good job of being able to track the Millennium Falcon, but other than that, he loses every fight he's in. He, gets knocked into a Sarlacc pit by a blind guy accidentally. Well, Han is temporarily blinded and accidentally knocks him into this. It's so dumb. And it's just again, he looks super cool. I'm not going to deny that. But the actual character of Boba Fett that we were introduced to, we were told he was amazing, but we never actually saw it in those movies.
I've been retired for a few years, gained a few pounds version of him.
Then again, he wasn't a Mandalorian.
Correct. He was.
What?
Yeah. No, he's not an actual Mandalorian, because Jango Fett was not a Mandalorian.
Really?
He stole the armor. Yes.
Jango Fett was just a bounty hunter.
Correct. A bounty hunter that wanted Mandalorian armor, and so probably killed someone and stole it.
And so Boba killed somebody and stole it?
No, Boba.
Inherited his armor from Jango.
Yeah, it doesn't look like his though. I don't remember.
Yeah, it's not really. Well, we don't know exactly where he got the armor from, but I think we can assume it was because he obviously acquired that armor because of his father. Mm-hmm. But yeah, we don't know exactly why.
Yeah, because
now it's even more weird.
There's a lot of backstories where there's troopers scattered all over the universe that were abandoned during a battle or during a war.
Yeah.
I think they even found one that had kids.
Well, and again, this comes back to the weird story choices that they make in Star Wars. It's giving us any backstory on Boba Fett was totally unnecessary. Like, we got Boba Fett in Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi. He's this cool guy. And then, like, they explored him in Legends and stuff. But then all of a sudden in Attack of the Clones, they were like, oh, and his father was the template for all of the clone troopers. And, it's like, what? Like, why did we make this a thing? And so, yeah, Boba Fett's like not my biggest character. So to me, I'm actually excited for this because I'm looking forward to what they will do.
Yeah.
It's like maybe they'll actually give me a cool version of Boba Fett that will live up to his cool look.
So would either one of you be upset if it ends up being Rex or one of the other clones?
No, I wouldn't care if it was a clone trooper, if they gave us a reason why he was there and why it mattered. But I don't see any reason why a clone trooper would be on Tatooine.
I would think it would make more sense to have a clone trooper so that the clone trooper could give Mando the actual story of what the Jedis were.
Yeah.
Instead of like people's like, oh yeah, the Mandalorians fought with these group of wizards, magicians and da 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 da. So
yeah, well, I think he's gonna encounter some people like whether it's Ahsoka or
somebody would know what the Jedi was.
So
well, they talk. The girl at the docking bay talks about the Force. She says, "Thank the Force."
Well, yeah, but I do think that's almost like clearly that's just a saying,
like "Thank God" kind of thing.
Yeah, okay. Exactly.
Like Jesus Christ.
Yeah. Okay.
So yeah, but
I bow to y'all on this one because I don't.
Yeah.
All I know is it was cool.
It was a cool episode.
Yeah.
And we should probably stop talking about it now. This has been a long episode.
Yeah, I'll have to edit.
But
I'll edit out the
yeah, I mean, I think that this is among the best episodes that we've gotten so far.
Oh yeah. By far.
I really liked kind of the last two episodes of season 1, and this one I think have been really strong. Yeah. Those are probably my 3 favorite episodes of the series so far.
So far, so good then. We'll check it out. So stay tuned, guys, because like Robert said earlier, we are going to be reviewing every episode when it comes out on Fridays, and we'll have our review up by Tuesday. They will have spoilers. So remember that always when you watch these. But I think for Get Your Geek On, we will see you on our next review.